And welcome back to a another MD After Dark video. My name is Andre Tainter. I'm not with Michael Hernan today. It's been a long time, hasn't it? But either way, today it's NBA draft day. I keep looking at myself because I keep putting myself in the opposite corner, so it looks like I'm looking away, but it's all right. I could put it like right in the middle, but it looks stupid. But either way, we have two NBA mock drafts today, so I'm super excited to show off some of my ball knowledge. And after each draft, I'll talk about where undrafted free agent players could go. I just caught a fly. Oh, it ran away. That was crazy. But yeah. So let's get right into this mock draft. I have both of them written down. So if you see me looking down at my paper, that's okay. But I also have some a little bit of other news at the end of the video, so just stay tuned. So we'll be drafting for all the teams. So first overall pick. These first four picks probably won't be any different either mock draft, but number one, I have AJ DeMonsta, best player in the NBA draft by far, probably the best player in the country. And then the number two overall pick. People are talking about how Darren Peterson only worked out for the Washington Wizards. I don't care. Darren Peterson is the second best player in the country, second best player in the draft. If I'm Utah and I pass on Darren Peterson, you might as well trade down and get other stuff. I'm going Darren Peterson at two. At number three, Memphis. I watched this video about a mock draft, and the guy said it perfectly. If I'm Memphis at number three, I am sprinting to the podium to draft Cameron Boozer at number three. I don't like his game as much as everybody else does. Let me move the camera around a little, or not camera, mic around a little bit. Um, I don't like Cameron Boozer's game as much as everybody else does. I watched him against Siena in a lot of the tournament games. Siena kind of bullied him. I know like a fifth year center that used to play for Iowa that had like 2 points a game. If I'm a little bit concerned about that. But you could say that about all the Duke players. Oh, they almost lost to a 16 seed. Well, Zach Edey still got drafted. They lost to a 16 seed. I'm pretty sure there was probably NBA players on that Virginia team that lost to, was it UMBC? But anyways, my favorite team, the Chicago Bulls. I'm also sprinting to the podium, and I'm drafting Caleb Wilson. That's all I have to say. But here's where it gets a little bit different. This fifth pick through around double digits is where my two mock drafts get really different. At number five, I am taking Michael Brown Jr. I am super high on this guy. I think he's a really good scorer. He did sit out a couple of games. He's a little bit of a smaller point guard at 6'5", but you can see that Acuff is also 6'3", and Flemings is also 6'4". So there's not a lot of height in this NBA draft for the guards, but the guy that I'm drafting next is not the one that has height. I'm going Darius Acuff at 6. Best scorer in the draft? You could say that, I guess. But if I'm the Nets, I'm super excited for this guy. He's athletic, he can shoot the three ball, he can get to his spots on the floor. I just love Acuff, but his defense is what people say kills his draft stock. You know what? I don't even care. I'm drafting him. And then at number 7, I have Keaton Wagler. This is the tallest point guard. He's got size on him, and I think everybody's like, oh, the Bulls should trade up and try to draft him at like 10. He's not going to fall to 10. So I don't know what everybody is saying about that. But then at number 8, well, I guess I should explain Keaton Wagler more. If you're the Kings, you're looking for the best available player. I think he definitely is. Um, He's a big point guard. He's replacing your old players. You have Russell Westbrook. You have, Devin Carter. I've liked Devin Carter, but I just don't think he's going to be as good as everybody thought he was coming out of Providence. But Keaton Wagler, he's just also one of the best scorers in the draft. Obviously, all of them are because they're going in the top 10. But I think Keaton Wagler and Darius Acuff are two of the best scorers. And then at number 8, I'm just gonna look down at my notes to make sure I don't mess up. It's gonna be Kingston Flemings. Um, I haven't watched a lot on this guy, so I don't know too much about him. But the way people were talking is that he like I said, he can get to his spots. He can score, but he's not a prolific scorer. He can distribute the ball. That's what I want out of a point guard. And if you're Atlanta and you're at number 8 and you find a guy like this that can distribute the ball, can score, you already have CJ McCollum. If you can find another point guard that can, what's the word? He can play above his game, like he's playing older, like a vet. You know what I mean? I think that that's huge for Atlanta, especially being in the spot that they are. They won 2 games against the champions, so that's just me. All right, at number 9, I have Braden Burries. If you're um, Dallas, now that you this is after the Dusty May hiring, so people are thinking, oh, Yaxel, or I'll just circle him right here, Yaxel. I just went over Ade Mara and said Yaxel. Okay, let's do it right this time. Ade Mara or Yaxel Lendeborg or Morez Johnson. People are saying that he might jump into the top 10. Morez Johnson? No. I'm not taking a guy who averaged 7 points a game in the top 10. Like, the only times that people have done that are the Bulls. They drafted Patrick Williams. Okay, at number 10, um, I have Ade Mara going to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, in 3 picks, we'll get to another thing. Obviously here, I think the Warriors take a known, just athletic forward, and I'm taking Yaxel Lendeborg. But me personally, I don't really like Yax, but I've seen him play. He played against Northwestern a lot. He's huge, so I don't know what else I can say about him. He's a good scorer. He's athletic. He can play defense. He can guard 1 through 5. That's a huge thing though. At number 12, I'm gonna take a flyer here. I think that the Thunder can turn Jaden Quaintance into somebody huge. I think that if you already have Thomas Sorber, so if you can drop, so who are their centers? You have Chet. If you can drop Isaiah Hartenstein's contract, I don't know how long it goes for. It might end this year, which could make this a good pick. I don't think it does. But if you could, I mean, it says he's a forward too. He can play the 4. But if you can have Chet Holmgren, 4 points in an elimination game, by the way. Thomas Sorber, who's coming out, who hasn't played a game yet because he was injured all of his rookie year, and Jaden Quaintance, one of the most athletic guys in the draft, at 6'10". That's elite defense right there. All right, at number 13. Oh, I hate this. So let's just go over this real quick. Giannis got traded to the Heat last night. Do I love the trade? Not really. I think the Heat might have won. People are saying that the Heat got fleeced. I think both lineups look atrocious right now. You have Tyler Hero. I love Kasparis Yakatonis, Jaime Jaquez, and Kel'el Ware. I'm super high on 2 of those guys. Tyler Hero's already proven. I'm not super high on Jaime Jaquez. He's already 25. Sure, for the NBA, 25 might not be old, but like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, if you want 3 guys that are 22 or less, I would have probably taken Nikola Jovic. I know that Jaime Jaquez averaged like 15 points a game last year, but Jovic. Now, if you're the Heat, you would probably have had to give up another first-round pick to drop Jovic instead of Jaime Jaquez. But personally, if I'm the Heat, you drop you drop that extra first-round pick. You have 4 years of Giannis or however many is left on his contract. You don't need that first-round pick. You're gonna be in the 20s. You keep Jovic. He was like a teens pick. You insert him into your lineup more and more. You don't have to play him 20 minutes a game because you have Giannis. You have Giannis. You have Bam. They're going to go out and sign somebody else with a little bit of cash that they have. But that's what I'm thinking is if you trade Jovic, you can insert him to your lineup, but at the same time, wait, no. What am I saying? If you trade Jaquez, you can insert Jovic into your lineup, but if you trade Jovic, you already have a starting lineup caliber forward that you don't need to get rid of. And then Jovic, when I just said that you don't have to play him 20 minutes with Giannis, then he can play those 20 minutes in Milwaukee and start developing, which is a win-win for both, but that's just me. But anyways, back to the draft. We will be selecting LeBaron Philon at 13. I love LeBaron Philon. I would go to Bucks games if him. I hate Ade Mara, but I love LeBaron Philon. But Ade Mara is like 7'4", so it makes me, or 7'3" it says. But either way. And at 14, I'm having the Hornets select Haynes Steinbach. I'm super high on this guy too. He can shoot the three ball. He can get into the lane. He's strong. I loved watching him at Washington, but yeah, that's. I mean, he's young. If you're the Hornets, you want to draft the youngest guys in the draft. That's all I'm gonna say. What is going on here? Who knows? At 15, I have the Bulls drafting Morez Johnson. I like Cam Carr so much, but people are saying the Bulls need a forward, so I feel like I'd get beheaded in my first mock draft if I drafted Cameron Carr instead of Morez Johnson. And then at 16, immediately after, I have Memphis drafting Cameron Carr. If they are going to trade Ja Morant, that guy is going to be the guy that they want bringing the ball up the court for them. And at 17, I have another flyer. I have Dalen Swain from Texas for OKC. I seriously think that if OKC just drafts defense, they have enough floppers. Imagine, okay, I know people aren't very high on Jaden Quaintance, but imagine if they developed him and they had Chet Holmgren at the 5, Jaden Quaintance at the 4, Dalen Swain at the 3, Alex Caruso at the 2, and then Shea at the 1. Swain can score. I'm not going to say he can't score, but I seriously think, like, that's crazy defense. Caruso can shoot the 3 ball, but we'll get into that a different time. At 18, I mean, Hornets. If you don't draft Nate Ament here, people say he's super raw and that he's not going to be good because he's skinny and he has to grow into his body. I don't care. Getting him at 18, and there will be another steal here in a second. But for here, I have Toronto taking Christian Anderson, correct? Yep, at 19. Christian Anderson is a super good point guard. He can shoot the 3 ball. He's probably the best distributing point guard behind one other person in this draft that we will get to later. But I have the San Antonio Spurs drafting Chris Sanak. The Bulls were supposed to take him at like 10 earlier this year, but he just didn't score. He's just a super defensive guy, but I feel like him backing up Wemby is going to be huge. So that's just me. And then at 21, um, on this draft class, I have Bennett Sturts going to Detroit. I like Bennett Sturts, but I don't at the same time. I think they need a guy that can go out there and, like I said, shoot the 3 ball and distribute. That's what they need. They already have Cade, who's distributing the ball. Cade, he's an okay 3-point shooter. I won't say he's bad, but he's not the best. But I think Bennett Sturts will fit in Detroit. I see a lot of people saying they're going to draft Ibuka Okori, who's just a straight up scorer out of Stanford. I love Ibuka, by the way. And then at 22, I think right here, Philly is going to take Koa Pete. Personally, you have VJ Edgecombe. Who are really at your forwards? You have Kelly Oubre. You have Justin Edwards. You have, unless I'm missing somebody super obvious. Who did they draft? They drafted Edgecombe last year. They have Maxey. They have Embiid. I got to be missing somebody. I don't know. But Koa Pete at 22 is an absolute steal. And at 23, I have Atlanta taking Kareem Lopez. It's probably super surprising. I was thinking about drafting him at 19 because the Raptors love drafting their athletic wings from not America, other than Scotty Barnes. But they like their long athletic wings. They run fives, or they run like 5 wings sometimes. But then at 24, I have the Knicks drafting Henry Vasar because me personally, I think that they have everything else. I really don't like Mitchell Robinson. He's a really good offensive rebounder, but I, that's all he really contributes is rebounding. Henry Vasar is a stretch 5 kind of. He can shoot the 3 ball at like a 31, I think it was percent. They could develop him, and he's 7 feet tall shooting threes. That's their Wemby stopper. No, it's not. But either way, I like Henry Vasar. And at 25, I have Allen Graves going to the Lakers. I think that they need a center, but we'll get to that later. I think that Allen Graves, I mean, he's from the California area. They're gonna draft him. He can shoot the ball. He's athletic. He's a pretty good defender as well. But anyways, with the 26th pick, I have the Denver Nuggets selecting Ibuka Okori. Straight up score. You might need that off the bench when Jamal Murray's off the court. Jamal Murray's a little bit more of a distributor, but either way, that's what I have. And then at 27, I have the Celtics drafting Taurus Reed, the center out of UConn. I really like Taurus Reed. I think him and Neemias Queta are super similar. So I think that's they can just swap them in and out. But yeah. And with the 28th pick, I think this is a really good pick for Brooklyn. Isaiah Evans out of Duke. He might not fall this far, but I'm just going off of this board right here. But I personally think Isaiah Evans is one of the better scorers in this draft. Just watching him in the tournament, I hated how he talked, but like he's really good. So at 28, that's a steal. And then at 29, um, the Cavaliers lost Darius Garland and James Harden's old, so I have them drafting Malik Thomas at 29. I think this is also a really good pick. He got a little bit overshadowed by Darius Akuff, but he's a dog. So I guess we'll see. With pick number 30, I think you have to go guard here, and I think you go Sergio De Laria. Um, I'm not super high on this guy. I don't know a lot about him, but you drafted Cooper Flag. Um, there's no Michigan guys on the board for Dusty May to draft this late, unless they're going to draft Elliot Cadeau out of college and make him force him to go to the NBA, which is not going to happen because it's not possible. But I think you just go youth here. Kyrie's getting old. You only have Ryan Nembhard, Brandon Williams, but you have a lot of forwards. You already have Derek Lively, your center of the future, and there's not really a lot of centers. I would not consider Babacar Miller a center, by the way. He's more of a four. But anyways, with the 31st pick, the first pick of the second round, I'm taking Zuby Ejiofor for the Knicks. The only reason I'm doing this is because he's a forward. They need a forward off the bench. I personally also think they need guard, but I don't. Conwell, he's more of a scorer. He's kind of just like Deuce McBride, except he can get to the lane a little bit better. And Richie Saunders is just a straight up 3-point shooter. And I don't really like that, especially if they already have Brunson. Like, they shoot a lot of 3-pointers. But Zubio Ejiofor, he went to St. John's. That's in New York. Just think about it. Especially for the first pick of the second round, what else are you going to do with it? And then at 32, I have the Grizzlies drafting Josh Jefferson. That's their second forward this draft. Me personally, I think they just go best player on the board here. Um, you already got Carlos Boozer, Cameron Boozer. You go out and get another forward that's proven himself at Iowa State. That's just what I think. And then at 33 here, I'm gonna go Alex Karabin for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I personally think that he's just he's basically Klay Thompson. You start one Klay Thompson. Oh, that Klay Thompson's tired. You bring another Klay Thompson off the bench. Now, I'm not calling him a prime Klay Thompson because I know he could dribble, get into the mid range and shoot. This guy's more of he's a bigger Klay Thompson too. And then at 34, I have Ryan Conwell. I think if you're the Kings here, you just go best player available. You get the guy from Louisville that can score, that can get you 15 points a game off the bench as a second round pick. I really liked his game. And then at 35, I'm going a little bit of a Chris Paul pick. So you know how we were talking about Christian Anderson earlier? I'm going Braden Smith for the Spurs at 35. Also, this is a no trade draft mock. So like I could easily see the I can't move for some reason. Like I'm trying, you see how the screen's moving a little bit? But I could see that the Spurs could trade Braden Smith, or not trade Braden Smith, but like you see all down here, the Thunder have a second round pick they're probably not going to keep because they don't have enough roster spot space unless they're going to draft somebody and then let people walk. But they just did trade Aaron Wiggins as well. But the Spurs have 2 second round picks down here. I don't see them keeping all 3 of them. I'm just going to go off of the draft order. I don't know what type of trades teams are making. I'm just going to go off the draft order. I'm going to go off of teams' basic needs. So at 36, I have the Clippers drafting Richie Saunders. Again, I think this is more of a best player available, team need type of draft. So they drafted Michael Brown. That's their distributing scoring guard. You get Richie Saunders to come off the bench. He is coming off of a torn ACL. I still love Richie Saunders' game though. Okay, and at 37, I have I just have in this mock draft, I think I have the Thunder taking players who fit their team needs and taking flyers on players who they think that they could develop. And I think Peter Suter, I did not like Miami of Ohio this year in college basketball. And they proceeded to lose in the round of 64 by like 20 or whatever. But I think the way he scores could contribute very weirdly. I don't know how to say it. I'm gonna flip my phone over without even looking past the camera. But I like his game, but I also don't. But I think the Thunder could do something with him. I think the Thunder could turn him into like not a five. What am I saying? A three that can shoot, that can catch off the dribble, dribble off the catch, and score by will. Anyways, sorry. I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm kind of rusty. At 38, I have the Bulls drafting Babacar Miller. This is my dream here. Babacar Miller at 38 would be awesome. So I'm praying that like the Clippers or the Kings. The Kings don't really need another center. They undrafted Dylan Caldwell last year out of Auburn. I like his game too. I think he's very similar to Babacar Miller, except Babacar Miller at 6'11 can dribble a little bit, and he can take like smaller guards and bigger guys off the dribble. So I like that. And then at 39, this is a little bit of a reach as well, kind of with a Zubio Ejiofor. I got Houston drafting Emmanuel Sharp. You only have one point guard. You have Reed Sheppard. Fred VanVleet's coming back. So if you want to move Fred VanVleet back to the 2, then you have not Fred VanVleet back to the 2. Reed Sheppard to the 2. You have Fred VanVleet and then Emmanuel Sharp coming out of Houston. You have him coming back. Not coming back. You have him coming into the system that he's probably been watching because he's been in Houston. At 40, I love this pick. I also hate it because I don't want the Celtics to win. I have the Celtics drafting Bruce Thornton. This is huge. They need a second round pick guy that can come off the bench. Like a lot of these second round picks, like in the NBA, you don't see a lot of second round picks getting PT. Unless you're like Ayo Dosunmu, Herb Jones. Those guys are both from the same draft class. I guess Kalkbrenner and Zion James last year for the Hornets. But I personally think that Bruce Thornton is one of the better players in this draft, but he's not going to get a lot of run from teams because he went to Ohio State. But I think he's a 3-level scorer too. So having him and Pritchard, I was thinking Drew Holiday, but he's on the Trailblazers though. And then at 41, I have the Heat out. So this was what my problem was. The Heat, now that they don't have a serious point guard, they only have who is their point guard? Oh my gosh. I'm not even gonna pause. Everybody can just call me a casual. But people were saying like you will be bringing the ball or something like you will be bringing the ball up for the Miami Heat this season because they traded like all their everybody. So Jaden Bradley, the guard out of Arizona, I feel like he fits that role a little bit. Like if Bruce Thornton wouldn't have gone, I think it's huge that the Celtics would draft Thornton over Bradley because he's more of a scorer, and Bradley can score, but he can also give the ball away because he had Koa Pete. I guess those were really the only two big name players in this draft from Arizona. All right, at 42, I have the Spurs taking Trayvon Brazile out of Arkansas. People are saying the Bulls should draft him at 38. I think he's just a big forward. He'll fill up space for the Spurs. But yet again, like I said, I don't know. I do not think the Spurs will make either of these picks, if any of the second round picks. Okay, at 43, I also love this pick. I have the Nets taking Otega Oweh. I'm super huge on this guy too. 20 points a game at Kentucky, and he's drafting in the second round. He's older, yes, he's a senior, but like I just love the way he plays the game. He's super athletic. He gets to the rim. He doesn't shoot very good from 3. So that's what they need. They need somebody that can drive to the lane and score. I mean, you have like a Nolan Traore, a Ben Seraph. Those guys both are fitting that role too. But Owe can play the three. I could necessarily say at 6'6" because he's so strong and big. And then at 44, um, this is a little bit of a reach pick. Where is he at? I have the Spurs taking Jacoby Gillespie. Um, they've already taken a guard. Where is it? They took Braden Smith. Do they have a first round pick? Oh yeah, they took Chris Sanak. I think Jacoby, the way he shot at the combine, he could raise himself to like an OKC. I could see him being an Oklahoma City jersey, but we will see. At 45, I have the Kings drafting Jack Cale. He's 19. I don't know a lot about his game, but if you're the Kings after you just drafted, who did I have them drafting? I just saw it. Oh, Ryan Conwell. And then they drafted they had Wagler. I didn't write down the team names for this one. I did for the next one, which I think I'm gonna make this into 2 videos. But you need young guys. So you go the youngest guy on the board here that is at least going to make an impact. Jack Cale. You can bring him off the bench, get him to the G League. He's only 19 years old. He's 1 month. Oh no, he might be 20 then. Because I think it said it was. Yeah, he's 20. So he's 1 month older than me. That's crazy. Okay, at 46, I love this. The Magic get Ugana Onyenso. They struggle at the center position. You have Wendell Carter. You have Goga Bataze. You get a guy who can play defense. He's huge. He was blocking people out of their minds. He was blocking players against Duke in the is it the ACC? That's the Atlantic Coastal Conference. I think that's what conference they're in. No, I don't even know. When it gets to college basketball time, I know everything. But when it gets past and it's like baseball season, NBA season, I can't get to it. Um, but here we go. This is another weird one. I took a reach here at 47. I have the Suns taking Nick Boyd out of Wisconsin. I think Nick Boyd is a really good scorer, but he's super inefficient. So let's just see if Nick Boyd can change his scoring ways or his efficiency problems in Phoenix. I think he's a really good player, but I guess we'll see. And at 48 here, I also took another little bit of a reach here. I took Quadir Copeland out of NC State. I like Quadir Copeland a lot, but I think he's more of a defensive distributing guy. And that's what they need at a 2 or a 3. He's kind of like a Dorian Finney-Smith with a less three-pointer. He could play defense. He could distribute the ball. He could score. He was like a 14-point scorer a game. 14-point scorer a game. 14 points per game scorer. There we go. But yeah. And then at 49, I have the where is he? I have the Nuggets taking Dillon Mitchell. He's an athletic forward that can play defense. That's what they need. He kind of reminded me of a taller Bruce Brown, but their games are a little bit different. And then at 50, my guy, Nick Martinelli, is going to the Toronto Raptors. I almost had him going 51 to Washington, but I think they like their forwards. He shot really good from 3. He can get to the lane. He's a lefty with a weird shot. I think Toronto could turn him into something really good, especially with their ways they play a center, 3 forwards, and a guard. So that's just me. At 51, we got to scroll down a little bit. Where is he? There he is. 51, I have Tamin Lipsey. He's a scorer. He can distribute the ball. He played with Josh Jefferson, but that's not who Washington drafted. I'm just saying he played with him. He made Josh Jefferson look way better than he probably is. But I think Washington, they have Trae Young. They're basically bringing in a younger Trae Young without a three-pointer. Like, that's all I'm going to say. And I'm not saying he can't shoot the 3. I'm just saying that that's just his game. It's a little bit less three-point shooting. It's a little more passing. It's in the lane. All right. At 52, this guy really impressed a lot of people. I think you go best player available, but I think Felix Akpara is probably better here. Not for the Clippers, but like in general, you get a taller guard. He's 6'6". He can play the 2. He can bring the ball up the court. He was frying all the draft picks. Tennessee State. You don't see a lot of guys from those type of conferences and teams getting drafted. So I feel like this is a good pick. He'll have a chip on his shoulder. I think that's huge for the Clippers. They need somebody who can do who could play like he does. He gets in the lane. At 53, I took Felix Akpara. He's like the opposite of Alperen Şengün. He's a super good defensive guy. He can play the 4 and the 5. Um, so it's like if Steven Adams leaves, is Clint Capella? He's on the Hawks, not the. No, he's back on the Rockets. So you had Steven Adams. So like he's basically like those guys but younger. So they can let go of. I would let go of Clint Capella over Steven Adams, but I think Steven Adams is gonna be the one that leaves. And then at 54, this is a weird one, but I'll explain it real quick. Melvin Council to the Warriors. I personally think Melvin Council is huge for them because he's super fast. You could bring him in on the opposite side of Curry. He can just run around the court. Like, he is athletic. I saw him get up at Kansas. And he was the one that went to, was he St. Bonaventure? I don't remember. It was a Brown team in like a random conference. But his driving to the lane game, he can shoot the mid range, he passes the ball, he has a lot of confidence. That's what you need. So if you're the Warriors here, you get Jax Lindenberg and Melvin Council, and I think that he's a good fit for a lot of teams. Like a lot of teams would want a guy like Melvin Council. And then at 55, I think this is not a team that would make this pick. Like I don't think the Knicks are drafting at 55. They'll trade it away to a team that actually wants a player. I have Tyler Nickel. You have a lot of big players. You need a bigger forward. He's like OG Anunoby kind of. Not really. But like his build kind of is. But he weighs a little bit more. Um he's like an inch taller. But he's more of a back to the rim type of guy. I think they just need more big bodies personally. And at 56, I have the Bulls drafting Bryce Hopkins. Him and Dillon Mitchell, who are teammates, are very similar, but I think Bryce Hopkins brings up the ball a little bit more, shoots the three ball a little bit more. He's the one that transferred from Providence, and they had that big fight. I remember that. But I like Bryce Hopkins. He has a little bit more of a three ball. But yeah, so I guess we'll just see. I feel like he could develop into a really good forward. At 57, I have the Hawks taking Milos Uzan, one of the better guards still on the board. Um, See, like I said, I didn't write down the team names for this draft class or this mock draft, so this is going to be a pain in my butt to try to figure out all the players. But this is the one where they took Kingston Flemings at 8. So you get an off the ball guard who can also distribute the rocks. That's the way I think about it. And this one sucks because I think New Orleans takes the better like big guard off the board at 58 and they go Marion Dickerson. He barely played his senior year, but if you're going to take a flyer, you're going to take it at 58 with your one draft pick. And then at 59, I like this guy. At 59, the Timberwolves are going to draft Jaden Henley. I really like his game. He's just a pure scorer from Grand Canyon. Um, I like how he plays the game. I like how at Grand Canyon, when you turn Grand Canyon into a team that's going to compete and they won a tournament game, that's how you know that he's a good leader and a good point guard. And finally, with the last pick, I have the Wizards taking CJ Gunn out of DePaul. I think he's a really good defender. He could score the way he wants. I liked him and Layden Blocker at DePaul, but we're pulling up on the 35-minute mark, so let's just see overall who we had. So the Wizards, so 1, DeBonsta, 2, Peterson. I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to scroll through it. If you want to pause, you can. There's a couple questionable picks in here, but I really think this is a good draft. But anyways, as I come down to the end of the list, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Actually, no. Actually, I'll make that a separate video. But anyways, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. There will be a part 2 to this, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.